Arizona State picked last in the Big 12 preseason media poll. I find that to be a little preposterous. So does Richie Bradshaw, Locked On Sun Devils, joining me here on the show. So ASU picked 16th of 16 teams. I don't. Look, if I'd had a ballot, that's not where I would have them. I think ASU has the opportunity to make some legitimate noise in that they beat a team where you go, wait, they beat who? They did what now? Like, ASU to me is pushing to be a bowl team this year, and that is not a last place finisher in the Big 12, as deep as it is.
They are so much better than people realize. This is a team that they lost three big players. You lose Jaden Rashada, Elijah Badger, BJ Green. That's about as brutal as it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to lose players outside of quarterback, you lost them at the two positions that you could afford to. ASU is ridiculously deep at receiver. Look out for Jordan Tyson this year. He is going to be a beast. Defensively, you replace BJ Green with Prince Dorbah and with Clayton Smith, two guys who I would not be surprised if they were all conference teams. Maybe not first team, but second team, third team, honorable mention, especially Clayton Smith. I am super high on the former five-star recruit. But this team is well built too. The secondary is very deep. Safety has a lot of talent. Linebacker has a lot of talent. Running back is insane. Cameron Scadaboo, Raleek Brown, Alton McCaskill. Some of the other guys that they've built that backfield with. The offensive line is really deep. I understand, Spencer, you're coming off of consecutive 3-win seasons, but if you compare the 3-win season from 2022 to the 3-win season from 2023, it's night and day different. ASU was in 4 dogfights last year that they could have potentially won with Oklahoma State, Washington, who went to the national championship game, Cal, and Colorado. You could have swung and won those games, and you're suddenly 7-5. ASU is not going 3-9 this year. They are going bowling this year, and I venture to say they're going to be in like that second tier, right in the middle of the Big 12 between the powerhouses and the seller teams. They're going to be much better than 16. And I said on my podcast, and I'll say here too, if they finish last place in the conference, I'll shave the beard.
Oh, wow. Oh, boy. But I think you're safe. I think.
Oh, I know I'm safe.
It's bold when you actually have facial hair. As people can see on YouTube, there is not an ounce of facial hair on this face, nor will there ever be, because I would look ridiculous. I have to continue to strive for, as Peyton Manning was told by Ron Burgundy, a succulent baby lamb. So
I can't pull off clean shaven. You got it.
I do. I got it down enough. Anyway, so when you look at Arizona State's schedule, it's not a cakewalk. Like, let's make that absolutely clear. Their win total, according to our friends at FanDuel, is 4.5. I like that over because I do think they will at least push to be a bowl team. And I really like what you said about the 3-9s not being the same, because one was a transition year in which you fired Herm Edwards after a loss at home to Eastern Michigan. Sean Aguano took over, and it was a mess. But last year, they went 3-9. Still running with a walk-on at quarterback. By the end of the year, they were snapping the ball to a tight end and a running back. Like, they didn't even have a chance. And from a 30-foot view, or a 30,000-foot view, I think is the expression, you look at Jaden Rashada leaving and going, oh, they couldn't keep a really talented guy. I think that says more about what Sam Leavitt brings to the table than what Jaden Rashada, isn't. Like, oh, is he not as good? No, I think Sam Leavitt just had the better spring, and that's what all the reports have indicated.
He flat out beat him out. And the thing that's funny to me is Jaden Rashada was a really high 4-star kid. Sam Leavitt was also a 4-star recruit in the same recruiting cycle. It's not like they're replacing him with like some no-name kid. Sam Leavitt is a very talented quarterback who can make a lot of throws. He's someone that is able to be a little bit nimble in the backfield, extend the plays with his legs. He's got it. Like, I'm not saying the upside is Jaden Rashada, because I think we can all agree Jaden Rashada has some ridiculously high upside. But Sam Leavitt is still a talented quarterback, somebody who, in a Kenny Dillingham system, in a Marcus Arroyo system, their offensive coordinator, I think they're going to find more success than people realize. And again, the supporting group he's got around him. He's got a great run game. He's got tons of receivers. The tight end room, I'm not sold. There's some interesting guys there. Offensive line looks great. this should be an offense that is going to be leaps and bounds ahead of where they were last year. Sam Levitt could be the reason why.
Yeah, I will say, I'm not wild about the Marcus Arroyo addition as offensive coordinator.
Oh, I loved it.
No, I think if you talk to Oregon fans, they won't have glowing reviews.
Sure.
But Dillingham being there makes that concern lessen for me substantially, because Dillingham has proven everywhere he's been, good offensive coach, good offensive mind. When you go to Arizona State's schedule, Richie, what I've been looking at here on the show, the most important singular games, not the biggest games, but the most important games for a team to have the sort of season they aspire to attain this year. For me, that game is the Big 12 opener at Texas Tech, because the next two games, yes, they are at home, but Kansas and Utah, that feels like a bridge Arizona State is not ready to cross. Texas Tech on paper is a better football team. I have higher hopes for them than I do the Sun Devils. If ASU goes into Lubbock and walks out with a win right there, I think the tone and tenor in that locker room, I think the narrative around this team changes immensely, because they should have at least 2 wins. They could have 3. Mississippi State is a game you're playing at home. They're in a rebuild with Jeff Lebby taking over in his first year. Like, that's not a very good football team. It's not going to be an easy game to win because you have an SEC roster, even if it's at a lower level. But if you take care of Wyoming and Texas State, which they should be able to, whether or not you beat Mississippi State, I think that Texas Tech game is how you kind of put the rest of the league on notice, and you send a message within your own locker room of, hey, we can be something here. We can achieve what people didn't think we could. That's why I look at Texas Tech as the most important game. What do you think?
I'm not going to say the Territorial Cup. That's low-hanging fruit. It's arguably the most important game every year. To me, I agree with you. It's Texas Tech. It's your opening game to the Big 12. You have some history with Texas Tech in recent years. There's an opportunity to establish a new rivalry within the Big 12. That's another task, Spencer, that you're going to be looking towards now, is branching out from what was the Pac-12 with Utah, Colorado, and Arizona, who you have rivalries with. You want to start creating more rivalries that will get the attention of recruits and the media and everything in the nation. So they want to tune in. Like in 3 or 4 years, they might go, Arizona State and Texas Tech, they built nice little programs. We should have them on a primetime slot, or not a primetime, but like one of those, like, hey, this is maybe a place that we send game time or game day to, kind of thing. You want to be able to establish a rivalry like that. And Texas Tech opening up your Big 12 debut, I think that's a great opportunity. The other game that I'm looking at is Oklahoma State. This is the 3rd straight year you've played them. You got your butt handed to you in 2022. Surprise, surprise. Last year you could have beat them. You were right there. There's an opportunity for you to do so. This is same thing as Texas Tech, opportunity to establish a new rivalry. And this would be with one of the upper better teams in the Big 12.
Upper tier, is that what you were looking for?
Yes, upper tier. Thank you. This is a chance to establish a new rivalry. I would say Texas Tech, Oklahoma State are my most important games. UCF at home, that's kind of like, where are you at in the Big 12? Are you top half or lower half? But make me pick one. I'd go Texas Tech as well.
Yeah, I think it's the 16th thing. Like, to me, the last place team in the Big 12 is Houston. I think they have the toughest situation to deal with, and they could next year be where ASU is this year, but Kenny Dillingham was there a year ago. He's got a culture established. He's got some players on the roster. He's got a great defensive coordinator. I think as long as Sam Levitt, shows that he did win that starting job for a reason that, has to do with how he performs on the football field, I think Arizona State at least pushes to be a bowl team. I think last place is ridiculous, but that Texas Tech game, that's not an easy place to win. They should have knocked off Oregon last year, and the Ducks squeaked one out. So it is going to be a tough game to be sure, but gosh almighty, these games are getting ever closer. Richie Bradshaw, locked on Sun Devils, wrapping up the week. Richie, appreciate it.
Absolutely. Sorry to do a little plug. If If you haven't subscribed to Locked On Sun Devils, we're trying to get to 1,000 before the season starts. We're a little
Get him over there.
800.
Get him over the hump.
I am not biased for 80% of the podcast, and the other 20% is a little bit biased. I'm not gonna lie, but
oh, you know what? Fans for a team wouldn't have it any other way.